tonight on the Chillstream. It's Christmas, December 25th, 2023. We made it through another year. And there's so much to look forward to in 2024. I don't even know where to begin, but I'll see you guys in 2 minutes. And we are back. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Christmas edition of the Monday Night Chill Stream. And I don't really have like one of those hats, one of those little red Santa hats or elf hats. I don't do all our Christmas stuff. I got a call from work. They're like, are you going to work on Christmas Day? I'm like, hey, Monday's my normal day off. So, and whatever. I have some issues with my car that I thought were going to get resolved by today. But the guy that sold me that I ordered the order parts from said, oh, yeah, the parts will be in on Monday. And I just assumed, because I always work every Christmas and every Thanksgiving, that they would be open, except, of course, the store wasn't open. Anyway, it is Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates it. Maybe you're with family, or you come back from church, or whatever. Maybe you're getting out of that red suit and doing family stuff. But whatever. Welcome to the stream. Make sure to smash up that like button, by the way, particularly at Christmas. I mean, for Christmas, the least you could do is smash up the like button. I mean, it is the season of giving. So give that like button a smash. Anyway, we've got, as usual, some stuff to talk about. I don't know if it's, some things are repeats, and that's a good thing. And then we have some expectations for the coming year. So what am I going to start with? Maybe the worst violation of the Christmas spirit is somebody coming to rob you, right? St. Nicholas comes down the chimney. He leaves you good stuff. He doesn't usually take your stuff. And I noticed earlier this week, I'm trying to put, Friday night, I was supposed to drive to Boston, but it was a Christmas miracle. The airplane broke, or couldn't fly because of some tiny little O-ring in White Plains. So I didn't have to drive to Boston on Friday night, and I was happy with that. Saturday, no work. Sunday, no work. Like I said, today is my normal day off. So a mini vacation. So I'm happy about that. But spending a lot of time on the phone, just like making hours go by looking at stuff. and I saw something that was similar, even worse than what happened to me on, what was it, October 12th. October 12th, I don't know, 2011 was when Bitcoin first started trading, and October 12th, 2 years ago, I got scammed out of all my Bitcoin. Didn't think it was going to happen to me, but hey, things happen. Well, I happened to see this pop up when I was scrolling through YouTube, right? There's a picture of Michael Saylor, and it says, "You just need one Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to $1 million, blah, 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 blah." And it says, if you could see under the D in "you just need," it says live, right? And I'm like, live? All right, let me check this out. So you go to the video, right? You go to the video, and it's pre-recorded video of Michael Saylor. It says it's live, but it's not fucking live, because I consume enough of this guy's content that I have a fairly good idea of what he said and when he said it. And I'm like, oh shit, this is a fake live stream. And part of the fake live stream, they have a fake chat. This was with the chat, right? And you're invited to chat, but you have to do, I don't know, you have to go to their website first. And of course, there's a website which tells you if you just send them one Bitcoin, they will send you back 2 Bitcoins. If you, whatever you send them, they will send you back double. It's the dumbest scam in the world, but people fall for it. And it just happened to show up on my phone on Christmas weekend, right? And I knew what it was this time. And so I reported it to Google. So Google, right, here's the email they sent me. "Thank you for reporting this content, blah, 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 blah." And we pulled that content. And so that was Saturday. And then Sunday, I start up the phone. I open up YouTube at some point in the day. And what the fuck do I see? What do I see? Yep, I see that same motherfucking live stream, same fucking shit. And I've said this before. If you think these internet hackers, that these scammers, if you don't understand, this is the government. This is the alphabet agencies trying to get to con you out of your Bitcoin. If you don't understand that, then like I can't help you. That's not. There's no 15-year-old kid in a basement in Romania tapping away in a fucking keyboard who hacks into Google, hacks into YouTube, searches the algorithm to find out who looks at that sort of content, and just happens to put that content right fucking in front of you, right at Christmas. That's not an accident. And of course, like I said, I reported it, and then the next day it was right back. So this is a very real thing, and Google facilitates this, and they do it because Google is run by the federal government. Everyone right now, this is it. This meme is the truest thing right now. Literally everyone right now, their eyes on the beginning of January, right? Because what do we got? What was here? This was a little message from the SEC recently. SEC giving guidance that a Bitcoin ETF will be approved by January 10th. That was reported by Fox News. And so the race is on. You know what I mean? Is this going to be as big a deal as they think it is? 2024, it's an election year. They're going to cut interest rates. They're going to make the economy boom. They're going to let this Bitcoin thing, they're going to open up open up Pandora's box in the hopes that they could ride this to the White House is hoping they're going to be able to ride this to electoral victory, and I think they will. But I don't know if this story is like a good indication of how deep in people's minds this thing is, but people asking if BlackRock can front run the Bitcoin ETF approval. So can they buy up, it's kind of a dumb story, because they're like, well, can they buy up a bunch of Bitcoin before this thing goes live? Of course they can. There's no reason why they can't, and they've had that for their top clients for a while. For a while. Meanwhile, this is, nation state adoption gets a little bit closer. Our friends in Argentina, Argentina's Minister of Foreign Affairs affirms Bitcoin acceptance for contract agreements. One step closer to Argentina adopting Bitcoin as a currency, as a national, as legal tender, and that would be two nations, right? That would be two of them. Then there's this, which I thought was kind of dumb in a lot of ways. U.S. ambassador to Argentina hails Bitcoin miners genius flared gas power generation plants. So Argentina has some oil production, and they're going to take the flare gas and they're going to use the flare gas to mine Bitcoin. Well, it takes, I guess you have to be like a government employee to realize that the sixth or seventh entity in a row doing something is the genius, right? It was Marathon Digital, then it was Exxon, then it was Shell, then it was the nation of Qatar, then the United Arab Emirates, and God, whatever. That's like, and this is all just flare gas. And so Argentina is like, what, fifth or sixth in this. And the U.S., this is the guy's a U.S. ambassador. Wow, these people are geniuses. Yeah, well, maybe you want to do a little 5-minute Google search before you go opening your mouth, Mr. Ambassador. But nobody does that. Nobody does that. We just have, we just go out and say stuff that we wish was true, and that isn't necessarily going to happen. Although I had a thought right before I go live on this. This might be this particular stream, this December 25th stream, probably the least number of feds you could possibly have, because there ain't no Fed cop gonna work on Christmas. So this would be like Fed free for the end of 2023, which makes me happy. It makes me happy. What? Oh, that was not the one I wanted to show. I wanted to show this one. What the hell is this one? Yeah, suddenly U.S. electricity demand is spiking up. Can the grid keep up? So that's kind of like a Bitcoin related story, but it has to do with all these electric cars and the fact that, in places like New York City, they're not going to, all new construction is going to have to be electric stoves and shit like that. They're not going to do any more natural gas stoves, which of course is fucking ridiculous. But that's, this is their grandiose vision of their green carbon free future. And, it just can't happen because the electrical grid was put in like 100 years ago. It was put in like in the 1920s and the 1930s, and it can't really handle. It hasn't been upgraded to handle the demand of the 2020s and the 2030s. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out, because solar panels and windmills ain't gonna fucking cut it. In the meantime, the gaslighting, the nonstop gaslighting just doesn't quit. It doesn't quit. It doesn't quit. They don't even know what they're doing anymore. ABC News story: nationwide swatting spree targeting Jewish institutions appears coordinated, coming from outside the U.S. It says, or I circled down at the bottom, it says more than 30 of the 56 FBI field offices are investigating the threats. So someone outside the United States is calling police SWAT teams and sending them supposedly to Jewish institutions. Supposedly this is happening. When Trump was president, there was somebody calling in bomb threats to synagogues. And Trump had the FBI trace the calls back to Israel. And there was an 18-year-old kid who they said was a mentally ill kid, but he had like $40,000 worth of electronics equipment to hide his IP address and hide his voice and blah, 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 blah. We still caught him anyway. But, they ended up, I think they gave him like 18 months in prison, which he probably did like 18 days and then let him out. But, yeah, they're doing the same thing all over. just the endless victims. Nobody could be more of a victim than them, and they've got to crank this up to fucking 11 every day, and it's so bad. I like, it's laughable, and I've said this last week, and I still think this, and this is what I think really going forward. The absolute best thing uh, you could that could happen for us is for these people to keep using that same fucking playbook because it's not going anywhere. Virgil Doc Purple Heart, Merry Christmas to you as well, sir. Welcome to the show. But old Shabos, everyone's favorite Shabos, Donald Trump, they actually wrote Hitler into the Trump script. So I looked at this, and Trump says, I never read Mein Kampf, right? And then they're talking about immigration, blah, 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 this and that. And I would pay money to see a poll. If you poll the average number of people that go to one of these Trump rallies and ask them, what is Mein Kampf, right? What is it? Like, if they ever even heard of it, like, is it they don't know what it is. Is it a German fucking lunch food, or what is it, right? Would they even know? And how many of them read it? Like, so this is so ridiculously pathetic that they're like, okay, write some Hitler shit into Trump's dopey fucking script. And of course, what's he gonna do? He's gonna completely fucking do what he's told. He's playing his role, and that's. I personally think it's fucking laughable, and I think it's. I don't know anybody that's buying into this. Like, I travel around a lot of states, and occasionally I see a Trump flag or a Trump sticker, but it's not. This thing is lost its steam. This is an entirely imaginary battle between the ADL and its fictional enemies. And here's the story that I like. How did they even do this? I can't believe. Well, no, wait, I keep fucking hitting the wrong thing. I keep hitting the wrong thing. Okay, this is the right story. FBI agents search home of couple accused of burning cross in Conway area. I think that's Conway, South Carolina. So apparently there was a married couple that had a beef with some diversity. Some words were exchanged back and forth. And the diversity people claimed, and I don't know, I don't even understand this, that the white couple burned a cross in their front yard. And the FBI came to investigate. This is Jussie Smollett without even being interesting, because these fucking Dindus said they were burning a cross. The FBI goes down there. They're going to investigate. Like, could you see a charred pile of wood in front of the fucking house? Yes or no? You don't need an entire tactical fucking team dressed in fucking urban camo to fucking assault this fucking neighborhood fucking house. And isn't it so unfortunate that these poor victimized Dindus did not happen to have in their fucking hands a portable video camera, right? Because nobody has, like, it's too crazy to think that anyone has a portable video camera and could just take a fucking video like this in 2 seconds, right? So it's the no evidence FBI fucking running around fucking no reason shit. And again, this is that they are chasing these phantasms, that they are chasing these completely ridiculous imaginary fucking crimes is good for us, because the more they spin their wheels and the more they waste their fucking resources, the further along we get. But behind the scenes, what's really happening is, there's 2 different groups fighting for dominance. This one I thought was pretty good. It says failed Warburg Pincus talks reveal the scale of BlackRock's private equity ambitions. Then I typed in below that, who would be the top Jew? And I circled it. But Warburg Pincus is a Jewish banking firm from Switzerland that is part of the Federal Reserve, and BlackRock, which is probably funded by the Federal Reserve, now wants to knock out their bigger brother, but it didn't quite work out. So there's a quiet battle for dominance going on in areas that we don't normally see. But it's interesting that even amongst themselves, they're not playing. They aren't playing nice. They just aren't playing nice. To continue with the FBI thing, I saw this. I got a video here. Let's go with a 20-second video of a group that I think is almost certainly going to be farmed for domestic terrorists. Almost certainly, when you see this video, it's 20 seconds, pretty quick. You're going to understand that this is January. This is going to be January 6th, like part 2.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so what did you see? You see a whole bunch of like hundreds and hundreds of white guys under some fucking canopy or fucking tarp somewhere, all dressed up. They're actually like Harley dudes, biker guys. And, this is in California, and they're reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. So, I guarantee you the alphabet agencies are behind the forming of this organization. They're going to take military guys with military experience and military grade assault rifles who pretend to love America. And you're going to see that they're really terrorists, evil biker terrorists, Hell's Angels with AR-15s or whatever the fuck. Like somebody's going to go through all of these, the members roll for that organization. What's it called? I think it's called like a Combat Veterans Motorcycle Club or something like that. I don't recall what it is, but they're going to try and to fucking Randy Weaver a bunch of these dudes. I don't know how successful they're going to be, but that is most definitely what that is. As soon as I saw that, I was like, that's a fucking op. That is 100% a fucking federal fucking op. And I don't think it will succeed, but who knows? I think that's the intention to, especially because it's in California. Like, how do you get that many white people all in one place in California? And it's mostly white guys. You can't see, it's a big room. You can't see everybody, but it's, it's overwhelmingly a Caucasian gathering. So, in the next year, 2 years, I don't know, former fucking, whatever, like veteran turned terrorist. If that narrative sort of pops up, don't be surprised, because they're kind of laying the groundwork for that. All the while doing, again, reruns. This was, I remember this was, you've heard of the Fab Four, right? There was the Fab Four was the Beatles, right? That came over from England in the 1960s, and everything changed. And when I saw this next clip, I was like, this isn't the Fab Four, but this is the Shabos Four. The difference is the Beatles had actually had some musical talent, could sing and play guitar. These four dudes, not quite so talented. Here, take a look at these guys.
It's one of the most important stories you have published in quite some time.
Thank you, Charlie. And thank you, Tim. And nice to see you again, Tucker.
Great to see you, James.
There's been 150 people within IBM that have come forward. 150. Wow. I'm going to break something right on your show here. And this slide says, how does whiteness work? Red Hat, which is the subsidiary of IBM, and it says, quote, whiteness constructs the game, hides the rules, then rigs the game over and over again. It's this slide that they give out inside IBM. This is the sort of whistleblowing in numbers, in big numbers. I've never seen that before, and it's very encouraging. encouraging to me.
The message, James, you've spread for a long time of be brave has reached a lot of people. And if everyone holds that within their hearts that they will always be brave and stand up for what they believe in, we need not worry about this in 10 years.
In numbers. I think people need to do it in numbers.
If anyone's watching, to connect all this together, we need whistleblowers right now in these AI companies to come forward with what's really going on, how advanced is this technology. We don't know enough. James, you have other companies reaching out to you?
Yes, constantly. Usually on Signal or on our website, just nonstop. Banks, institutions. I mean, I prefer video because I think documents are not as powerful, but it's nonstop.
Video.
There's a lot of this, right? Like, I have a mortgage, I have a wife, I have a kid. It's always these conversations.
How do you respond to that?
It's tough. I mean, you're confronted with this horrible decision. I either do this job and I can't live with
Oh, that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to add myself. All right, now I don't know where I went. I don't know if you guys could hear me, but yeah, that was terrible. That was fucking the guy from fucking Project Veritas and Tucker Carlson and fucking Tim Pool and all those other fucking idiots. I accidentally knocked myself off my own stream and I couldn't figure out. It took me a moment to figure out how to get back on. Just shows we are some boomer tech, just some boomer tech. But that's what they have to offer. Like, oh, the AI companies are going after whiteness, blah 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 blah. Fits in with the Trump anti-immigration thing. It's all bullshit. And the fact that they're still running this playbook really is the best fucking news you could possibly get, because they're fucking they're literally chasing their own fucking tails. Absolutely chasing their own tails. But you know what? There's a baked-in audience for it, and here's one of them.
This is the problem with democracy. If you have democracy at a large scale in a diverse country where people are no longer united by the common things for which that country was established, it's just a bunch of different interest groups competing for power and competing for money, taking it out of our pockets, putting it where they want it, and vice versa. So this is not sustainable. Something bad is probably going to happen.
Yeah, well, you know what, young man, I would be interested in offering you a Christmas gift. I will give you a gift of a plane ticket, one-way plane ticket to Papua New Guinea, where you wouldn't have to bother holding a microphone. They'll put something else long and hard in your fucking inside you. You know, yeah, democracy is unsustainable. Oh, fucking, you know, as he says that in front of the White House, in front of a fucking camera. These people are not to be taken seriously. Oh, it's just there are different groups competing for money and influence. And you're telling me in Saudi Arabia there aren't families competing for fucking money and influence? Family members within that monarchy, competing for influence and favor? Like, you know, it's just so fucking stupid. But the faster they talk, and when they're talking fast, they're really talking fast. The faster people are talking, you got to understand they're really trying to speed you past any possible objections. Any point we go, hold on, let me think about this for a minute. They don't want you to do that. They want you to hurry up. Here's the democracy sucks. You could tell because, you know, I'm well fed with a camera and a cameraman in front of the White House, and that's how you could tell this country sucks. You know what I mean? And it can't last. Yeah, well, I think you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. But guys like him, the best one, of course, is Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, who my understanding is that his father was a translator for CIA. That's why I don't understand why I see Andrew Tate everywhere on fucking social media. I'm like, this guy pops up fucking everywhere. And the reason why it pops up everywhere is because there is no organic fame and there is no organic wealth. And Andrew Tate carries water for the people who are microdosing and writing scripts in Langley, Virginia. What is he doing? I don't even know what the fuck he's doing with this one. But listen to how fast Tate is like talking. Like he's got to push as hard as he possibly can to get his fucking retarded fucking ideas out.
Print money, I literally could not believe it.
Oh yeah, money's not real.
For 3 days, I'm sitting around, so I'm like, what the fuck is this? So they could just print this shit?
Money is not real. Money is truthfully the stored time and energy of other people.
Hourly rates.
That's right, because I can take that money and make someone else use their time and energy for X thing.
So it's a different version of slavery.
Absolutely. In slavery, let's actually look at slavery.
Slavery began that way.
Yeah, and slavery said, you work on my plantation, I give you somewhere to eat.
Or I'll give you my daughter.
Yeah.
This is how people would work.
Completely. So let's look at even American slavery, the slavery that most Americans understand. You're going to work for me, I'm going to give you a house, and I'm going to give you food, and you're going to stay here and you're going to work. Slavery is abolished. So now what do? You're going to work for me, I'm going to give you that, I'm going to give you some money, and that money is enough to only buy you a house and some food. We've just put money in the middle. Now, if I can make you do whatever I want for money, and I can print as much money as I want, you're my slave. Because I can print it from the sky, and you need it to live. So you are my slave. Money's not real. And now you start to understand, that's how the matrix operates.
So you see how he mixes stuff that's true and is not true. He says, I can print it from the sky, right? Which is our friend Jerome Powell.
We print it digitally. So
we print it digitally. So yeah, they can print it with the press of a button and voila, you need it to live. They don't need it to live because they already have multi-generational wealth. And then, so Tate says that, and that's true, but then he connects it to money is not real. I don't know. I don't know where the fuck they came up with that, but the money, obviously, that we use, the Federal Reserve notes, is counterfeit. But he's trying to hustle you quick, past this and past that. And he only wants to talk about American slavery, of course, because his target audience is America, because the CIA needs to control America. It doesn't really need to control Iraq or fucking Congo or fucking Indonesia. It'd be nice if they could, but you have to own and operate the fucking homeland completely. And the reason why you see Tate everywhere and he's always going to pop up and there's dozens of fucking accounts putting up videos of him saying all kinds of fucking stupid shit is because the people who control the algorithm, right? The same people who own Google, right? And Google says, hey, thanks for reporting that phony, dishonest thing, and we'll take it down right away. And then the next day, hours later, what do you see? You see that same exact live stream pops up in the same fucking place at the same time. And, they just can't seem to stop it, right? Just like little Andy shows up every fucking where, or somebody's talking about him. And it's tough to get away from. But when you understand that his dad was a CIA translator and he is one of their influencers, then it makes a whole lot more sense. So where are we at now? Okay. So I want to be more positive. I want to try and show you what you might be able to what you should be looking for in a personal relationship. This chick is fun. I thought she was funny as hell. 15-second video, but boys, take a look. This right here is marriage material.
I don't run to get ready for bikini season. I run so that in the year 2030, when I'm locked out of my electric car for having a bad social credit score, I can get outside the 15-minute city limits and escape the United Nations robocops that are after me for having a steak after I've reached my CO2 limit. That's the kind of girl, that is the kind of girl you want to get into your life.
And that's what you need. You need a girl who is not running to get ready for bikini season. She is running to get outside the grid, to get away from the drones, which will attempt to paralyze her brain with a taser and make her love diversity or something like that. But the way you do that, though, is not the way you think, right? I mean, I've mocked these people how many times? You know, they're praying to Hitler's ghost to get rid of the Negroes and the Jews and the beaners and the chopstick jockeys and the whatever. And they think they're going to get a government issued girlfriend or whatever the fuck they think is going to happen. None of that's going to happen. Right? You have to make the changes in your life based off of whatever's wrong with your fucking life. There's a guy, what's this guy's name? I think his name is Nick Pollard, Pollard. So I saw him on Instagram, and he's, I don't know, he's like something like a self-help guru type of guy, but very different from anything I'd ever seen before. And he puts out a bunch of relatively short videos. And this one is 1 minute 20 seconds, and it's different probably than anything you've heard before. So let's go talk to Nicky Pollard. I think he's out in California for 1 minute 20.
If you want to know true freedom, there's only one gift you have to give yourself, but you're not going to like it. And initially, your life is going to get worse. The amount of times I post videos about personal choice that are met with comments that tell me I'm full of shit because my solution doesn't line up with their specific situation is exactly why I'm making this video. Society at large has seemingly created a belief system that everybody's special, especially where trauma and misfortune are concerned, that no one's ever had it worse than you. There couldn't possibly be a solution because your situation's so different. But here's the thing, the most important gift you can give yourself if you truly want to experience personal freedom and growth is the realization that you're not that fucking special. That no matter what your situation, somebody has had it worse than you. That someone with less resources has done it as many times as someone with more resources. That no matter how good or bad you had it, there was someone that had it worse or better. Because by realizing that, you give yourself the gift of personal choice. You can stop making excuses and start looking for solutions. You can come to the realization that if it's humanly possible, you can probably do it too. Until you do that, you're going to live your life a victim of circumstance, constantly fretting about things that are outside of your scope of control. Try to remember that big dreams and small dreams often take time. But so does excuse making and dying with a truckload of regrets. Hope this helps.
I never heard anybody talk like that. The guy says, you know, people tell me I'm full of shit. I was like, wow, I thought that guy was pretty good. But that is, that's a pretty big deal. Understand that everyone's been in your shoes. Somebody somewhere has had it worse than you, faced the same things as you, with less than you, and still overcame it. And if you do that, you have a chance to have a life that where you're not a victim. Because all these people crying that, oh, American women are spoiled. Well, not the one who's running to get away from the drones. That chick is marriage material. You know what I mean? So they're not all spoiled, but you got to go find that chick, and then you got to be charming to her, and you got to start a fucking relationship. The government's not going to scoop her up and put her in a fucking truck, bring her to your fucking door. This is where you have to go, be an interesting, fucking attractive human being to get a chick like that fucking interesting. But if you want to play a victim, if you want to stay a victim forever, oh, feminism ruined this and it, like that. That's just not the way towards any kind of winning, any kind of victory, personal victory, or anything else. And you have to stop thinking that you aren't that fucking special. You're not some autistic fucking genius. You're just a fucking, you're just somebody who's wallowing in excuses, different excuses from what blacks use, different excuses from what Mexicans use, but excuses. So the best thing you can do for yourself is just to stop. Just stop that shit. Understand that, you know what, other people have done this, so I can do it. Because the people we're up against are are more sophisticated in the West than they ever were in the East. Everyone's probably familiar with, the horrors of communism and the gulag, and they grab you and they make you chop wood or fucking work in a salt mine or fucking whatever, achieve the Communist Party's fucking quota or else, you know what I mean? They'll take you, your wife, your fucking kids. And that's, that those horrors are acknowledged by a lot of people, right? Work camps, that kind of shit. But that's the crude, low-tech fucking version of what is done in the West. And what is done in the West, I said this before, like, when they print money out of fucking thin air, how many lifetimes do you have to fucking live in order to make the money they make? And it's one of the, I always get a kick out of the shit. I think of something and I have a half-formed thought of it, and then a week later I actually see the thing in video. So here's that guy Robert Breedlove, Breedlove, 1:20. He's actually done the math. So understand, to give you a sort of perspective on exactly what you're up against.
Central banking is an institutionalized system of time theft, because ultimately the fruits of your labor are a product of your time or energy, right? Time and energy used synonymously here. We printed $6 trillion in 2020, right? In the US. The average annual US salary is $60,000 roughly. That's 100 million years stolen, right? Through the counterfeiting of currency. If each human works from the age of 20 to 70, so that's about 50 productive years per human, the counterfeiting of $6 trillion USD equals the stealing of 2 million human lives worth of productive labor. Right? This is to try to make it real. Yeah. Like, it's a real massive problem. And then, of course, the plausible deniability that's built into inflation, right? It's Putin's fault. It's Beyonce's fault. It's the supply chains. It's everything but the central bank. So again, we're back to that romantic lie, the deception and the stealing going hand in hand. I think this is hopefully what we can deliver as Bitcoiners, is pulling back the veil on this bullshit.
And that is what I try to do in my own way. So he did the math. Just the 6 trillion that they printed for COVID, 2 million lifetimes. 2 million lifetimes. When you read about these people that died in a fucking gulag, what did they die from? You know what I mean? They were fucking worked to death. They're taken for their natural lifespan, or the majority of their natural lifespan, and fucking everything was stolen from them. They weren't even fed. They were worked to death and starved to death at the same fucking time, And you say, well, it's not like that here in America. It's not to that extreme level. It's not crudely done, but the same exact thing is done. It's done by the same people. And if you're sitting there going, well, no, I can outsmart this, or I'm lucky, or I'm gonna, I don't know how you think you're gonna win or not lose. You know what I mean? You maybe you're high up enough in the food chain that this isn't going to affect you, but it affects a lot of people. And I think I saw this. This was one of those things I really didn't like. It said most American couples have this much in retirement, blah 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 blah. How much money? How do you stack up versus the average American couple? But if you look where I circled at the bottom, it said of the people that responded to whatever the survey was, and I don't know how many people responded, 40% say they fear retirement more than death. Now, I'm not saying that 40% of boomers fear retirement more than death, because the boomers kind of rode a wave upwards. You know what I mean? The boomers had the wind at their back, whereas the millennials and the Gen Z kids, and even us, the Gen X guys, had headwinds to face. So where was I? Blah, 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 blah. If you want to think, try to consider how bad is it that 40% of the fucking people responding of these seniors fear retirement more than death. That death is actually the lesser of the two fucking worries, the lesser of the two fears. That's not a good fucking environment. That's not a good environment, and there's no one you can vote for who's going to change that. And for those of you, and I saw this was a great fucking chart. This was, who put this up? Michael Saylor put this up. But if you look at what you see on the screen, you see a screen, right? You got a black box, right? And you got the y-axis and the x-axis. And you got a green line, and that green line is the line of money printing. That's how much money has been added to the U.S. economy in the last 100 years, right? And the red line is the S&P 500. So, people who think blah, 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 stock market, this and that, I'll invest and I'll end up rich at the end of my life. At best, you're going to end up even, right? Because the S&P, American business, right? American business, all the stock prices just track the amount of money that they're pumping into the economy, the amount of money that they're printing, and they're printing even more money now, right? With the fucking 3 interest rate cuts that are going to come in this election year, they're going to fire up the fucking printer, and then stocks are they're not going to go up 7% or 15%, they'll go up 20%. But it isn't that, Apple is selling so many more fucking iPhones or everybody ran out and bought a new fucking Tesla. It's going to be because they pumped up the money supply by 20%. So everything that's not money goes up 20%. And you need to see that and to see through that lie. And I think only Bitcoiners do that. I don't think anybody else does, because everybody else is busy either waiting for the savior or pointing the fingers at this one or that one. And listen, I'm not saying there aren't the bad shit happens. And there's all kinds of fucking problems that have to be overcome, but they can be overcome. Right. And but not in this current environment, not with people being able to print 2 million lives worth of money like this and do what they want, because you end up with this. This is a story out of Chicago, right? Food deserts plague Chicago. Meaning that there's no supermarket, you can't go buy fresh fruit and vegetables in Chicago, which in certain neighborhoods, we know which neighborhoods they are, right? The diversity neighborhoods. Even if all you're selling is fucking collard greens, you can't make a go of it. So the city of Chicago wants to open its to inside the ghetto. It's like, listen, it's black people want to drink fucking grape soda and eat fried chicken, and that's all they really want to do. You know what I mean? Maybe they want some hot sauce, maybe some other times they want something else, but that's the choices they're going to make, and they're going to steal anything that's not fucking nailed down. So that's why there are food deserts. There were no food deserts when Al Capone ran Chicago 100 years ago. There were stores everywhere. You know what I mean? Fruit and vegetable stands with little fucking neighborhood fucking places. They flourished. They fucking thrived because people ate, like normal people back then. But today it's, call Uber Eats and get my fucking Domino's in 30 minutes, or it's free. And all this hand wringing over, fucking obesity, hypertension, diabetes, and all this stuff, draining all the money out of fucking the healthcare system. If we can just get people to fucking eat apples and some broccoli, everything would be better. But they're not going to do it. They just aren't going to do it. And as long as those cities can apply for federal loans and federal money, and that, as long as the feds can fucking print that shit out of thin air, that's going to go on. And so it's got to end. And the question is, when it does end, where are you going to be? Are you going to be, stuck deep in it's lost in their fucking system or not? You know what I mean? Are you going to be hoping that somebody realizes how virtuous you've been your whole life and they come and fix it? I don't think it's going to happen. I think that what's going to happen is, as this fucking empire of fucking fake money falls apart, something else is going to take its place. And that thing, everybody knows. I think it's Bitcoin, because there's nothing else. There's nothing else capable of taking its place. There's nothing on the horizon, unless something else better is invented. But I don't think something else better is going to be invented. And to be where we are now with this ETF things, we're going to kick off in a week or 2 weeks. I don't know. Is fucking this shit going to go to the moon? Is it going to flop? Is it going to fizzle? I can't say, but there's a lot of anticipation, and I'm obviously looking forward to the next couple of weeks. But I don't want to be like that couple in the fucking 40% going, you know what? I fear fucking retirement more than death. Judith White Chai in the chat. Hi, I'm drinking Kool-Aid. It's red, not sure what flavor. I would believe that would be cherry Kool-Aid. Would that not be cherry Kool-Aid? And which Kool-Aid are you drinking? Ultimately, that's the question. Well, whose Kool-Aid are you drinking? Hopefully that Kool-Aid was not given to you by some sort of cult leader. Hopefully you're not in some compound waiting for the end of the world. And they said, hey, listen, while we're waiting for the comet to come by, have a drink of this Kool-Aid. There's tropical fruit punch also. That's red. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fruit punch. Yeah, all the fruit punch ones. A good point. I didn't think Kool-Aid was still around, to be perfectly honest. That was something from my childhood. So I'm glad to know that there are still kids out there, even though Judas Lai Chai, rather large for a kid, is keeping the tradition alive. Where do we go? Where do we go? Wow, we went everywhere we need to go. We went everywhere we need to go. It is Christmas. You could leave me a gift by smashing up the like button. I particularly like looking at the views from last week's show, because the likes would go up to like 4 or 5, and then it would drop back down to 3. You know what I mean? So that, like, Google and whoever runs these stupid metrics, like they keep doing this shit. Like, oh, if he sees 5 likes, boy, that'll encourage him. You better knock it down to 3 or something like that. They don't understand. I'm going to do this anyway. Like, I'm going to do this anyway. If I got 13 downvotes, I wouldn't give a fuck. I would do the same exact fucking thing. But they don't. When you know what it is you want to do and you're committed to doing it, and it makes sense and it's the right thing to do, then it doesn't matter what these fuckers do. You know what I mean? It really does not matter what they do, because you're not. These external influences are just going to really have no impact on your life. Kool-Aid powder generally carries a kosher label. Kool-Aid jammers aren't kosher though. What is a Kool-Aid jammer? What is that? What is a jammer? Judas Lai Chai, once again, you are taking this stream in a bizarre direction with spamming the chat. I don't know what a Kool-Aid jammer is. I don't know what that is. But I'm glad Kool-Aid is kosher. That's it's important. Is Kool-Aid also halal? I guess it is, right? If it's one, it's the other. If it's the other, it's the other. I don't really know. I don't know if it's the same. But I would say right now, most of the Muslim world not super happy with the kosher. And I'm really trying to avoid anything about that, because it's just, it's Christmas and I'm trying to keep it relatively happy and lighthearted. Lemon lime Kool-Aid tastes like a green lollipop in liquid form. Well, green lollipops are a lot of times sour apple, so I'm not so sure you're correct. I'm going to have to push back against that, Mr. Fly Chai. A lot of green lollipops are in fact sour apple lollipops, not lemon lime. So I think, sir, you have conflated your colors, your artificial colors and flavors, which, considering how much weed you smoke, is uh, probably fairly easy to do. Judas Fletcher in the chat. I don't know. I've heard some Muslims will eat kosher meat, but I'm not really sure. My point is that entirety of that world, that 1.5 billion people, really not trying to hear it, as they say in the hood. They're really not down with being tolerant of and inclusive and inclusive. But who knows? We may find out with the heroic work of the FBI, with 30 of the 56 FBI field officers working on this at the same time, who is calling in these swatting incidents at Jewish institutions. Kosher laws really strict. Halal won't cut it. Really? Okay. Whatever. And it's the great thing about being a Gentile and food, particularly the slaughter of domesticated animals, is the whole goal is to kill animals quickly as you possibly can so it doesn't suffer. That's the absolute highest priority. You don't want to wound it. You want one and done. And that's kind of the Gentile way of doing it, because really appreciate you, Mr. Chicken, Mr. Piggy, Mr. Whatever, coming to jump on our dinner plates on our table. And, we're trying to make it as easy and as quick as possible for the cow, the chicken, whatever, to get on our dinner plates with the minimum amount of suffering. Judas Fletcher, the whole point of kosher laws is to keep Jews separate from non-co-religionists. Halal, not so strict, because Muslims supposed to go and convert people, and that's easier to do over a meal. Yeah, I guess there's not a lot of food. But you know what? It's not like the Muslim countries invented restaurant culture. You know what I mean? They didn't. It's not like you could stop in, tie up your camel on the fucking palm tree, and go to fucking Mamoon's falafel stand. Like, they have them now in America, but they didn't have them in 700 AD. By the way, you know what I mean? It wasn't. You couldn't just do that. Pretty sure that wasn't real common. Although I read a really interesting thing about. I read a really interesting thing about linear B, linear B? Yeah, linear B script from fucking Crete in 16 or 1700 BC. They talked about the Arab peoples worshiping their gods at night, and the god was called El-Ah, and I thought that was absolutely amazing. So they just kind of put a new face on their old pre-Islamic religion, pre-Muhammad. Arabs like having guests and giving people meals. Yeah, well, but a lot of it. Judas Fleischai, here's what you got to understand, and this is why you never want to visit Sweden, because if you go to Sweden and it's somewhere around dinner time, the Swedish people are going to think you came there just to get a free meal, and they won't offer you any food. This is why Sweden is a horrible place, and you should never go there. Everywhere else, though, literally everywhere else, sort of the law of hospitality applies. And one, you want to be hospitable to strangers, because if you were a stranger somewhere, you would want someone to be nice to you. So there's that. But secondarily, it's also a flex. It's a way of showing off your wealth. You know what I mean? Your material prosperity. Look, we have extra food. We could feed some random strangers who stop by. And I think probably when you're wandering through the fucking deserts of Saudi Arabia, fighting over date trees or fucking whatever they fight over, date palms. Having those spare calories that you could offer to someone, that would be a real flex. I think that would be a real, kind of demonstration of your mastery over the basics of being able to feed yourself and those you care about. Judas Lightshot, I don't want to go to Europe. Well, that's unfortunate because I've been part of it once and I really would like to go again. But yeah, if the point is not to mix with your co-religionists, things like having meals together, which is when you consider it, let's go with the Chinese. I got a thing on the Chinese. When you consider people sitting down to have a meal, you're kind of in a vulnerable position. You know what I mean? You're sort of like, you got to really trust these other people. And if you don't trust outsiders, you're not going to want to eat with them. And I noticed this years ago. You think about the chopstick jockeys. You think about the Chinese, right? They eat with chopsticks. And you're like, well, why the fuck did they come up with chopsticks? Because if you go from the banquet hall where the fucking emperor is, right? The emperor's there and everybody's around the emperor's table and they all get their chopsticks out and then they come out with all the food cooked on the plates. But the food, they don't eat whatever. Everything that they ate had to be chopped up with a fucking knife in the kitchen and held down with a fork and cut and sliced into little fucking bits and then, whatever, they toss it in the fucking wok with the sauce. So you think, well, if they have knives and forks in the kitchen to prep the food, why don't they eat with them at the table? And the reason why this is my personal theory, is that way long time ago way back in early Chinese history, they were just eating with knives and forks like they normally do, and like everyone else does. And somebody decided they wanted to kill the king, so he just, instead of taking his knife and poking the Peking duck and cutting off a nice little sliver of duck meat, he decided to stick the knife in the fucking emperor's neck, and make himself the emperor. And I think it worked. And then after that, he banned everyone from using knives at the fucking banquets. So they're like, well, what are we going to do? We're going to eat with our fingers like a bunch of savages, And he said, no, we'll come up with something. We'll make artificial fingers out of wood and you use those. And I think that's what drove the invention and adoption of chopsticks. It was to keep the emperor from getting killed by his dinner guests. And eventually that spread throughout the entire culture because everybody wants to look, particularly when you're especially poor, and the Chinese are poor people. Poor people want to look rich. So, and it's, if the way to look rich is to eat with two little wooden sticks, you know what? We could do that. But anyway, where am I? I'm already over an hour. I'm over an hour, and this was actually alcohol-free stream. Not that I couldn't have got any, but I got so much stuff to do tomorrow. I have to be 100%, 110%. We've got 2024 coming, and the first couple of weeks, man, of January is going to be very, very interesting. Let's see what happens. But to Judas Lightshot and to Virgil Doc Purple Heart, thanks for stopping by, guys. For everyone who will watch the show in the rerun, thank you also for watching. Make sure to smash up that like button, and I will see you guys next week.